Oh, no.
Don't worry.
Oh, no.
Yep, don't worry, I got you guys. So feel free to lie down on the back. And if you feel like you need a blanket under your head to support your neck, you can put one down. And as we lie down on the floor, you can either bend your knees and knock your knees together, or you can straighten your legs if that already feels good for you. So just do what you feel comfortable with. Rest your hands on your belly and just soften your shoulders. Notice if you can breathe into the bottom of your belly, expanding your belly up to the sky. When you need to exhale, you'll relax your belly down to the ground. Breathing in and ballooning the belly up to the ceiling. Exhale and releasing the belly down to the ground. Moving back and forth with your inhale and your exhale. And if you feel like you can breathe a little deeper, notice if you can breathe into your belly and your rib cage. And seeing if you can bring your breath all the way from your belly to your ribs and into your chest. Notice if you can relax the muscles of your face, space between your eyebrows, your jaw, even your tongue, and see if that changes anything about the quality or the feeling of your breath. Then just take your time and return to your regular breath. Just start to turn your head from one side to the other, releasing your neck a little bit. Then opening your arms out wide like a T. Keep your feet on the mat, about mat width apart, and just start to windshield wiper your legs from one side to the other. And let your knees fall to your left. And just concentrate on your right knee reaching down and forward. Maybe your head turns towards the right. Slowly rise up, swish the legs again, back and forth. And let your knees fall over towards the right. And think about your left knee pressing down and forward. Maybe your head turns to the left. And as you come back to the center, draw your knees wide to happy baby. Reach your hands towards your feet or the back of your thighs and rock a little side to side. Releasing your legs, hug your right knee in towards your chest and just start to create some circles with your right knee. And move in the opposite direction. Then hold on to the back of your right knee and interlace your fingers and start to straighten your right leg up to the ceiling. Point and flex your foot and rotate your foot in one direction. And then rotate your foot in the opposite direction. Then lift your heel up as high as it'll go and press your thigh into your hands, maybe even until you feel your elbows are straight. And if it feels good to straighten your left leg, try to straighten your left leg on the floor and just push out through both your heels, feeling your inner thighs working together. Trying to maintain a nice long breath. Then slowly start to bend your right knee. And you can take your hands kind of on top of the shin again and just kind of pull your right knee as close as you can into your ribs. And you don't have to make this like anything perfect in terms of alignment, but just try to reach for your shin or your foot with your left hand and pull your heel across your body so you kind of look like you're doing pigeon pose just on your back. And just feel that in your outer hip. Now bring your left foot on the floor and stack your thighs on top of each other as if you're sitting cross-legged on the ground. Lift your left foot off the ground with your legs kind of wrapped. If it's available to you, you can reach your hands towards your feet like you're holding onto handles of like a bicycle. And if the feet are not reachable, right, just don't worry about it. Let your hands rest and just keep drawing your knees towards your chest. Slowly unwind. Bring the legs together at like a 90-degree angle so your ankles are in line with your knees, but then your knees are on top of your hips. Then take your arms out wide like a T and see if you can reach your toes towards the ground without lifting your lower back off the floor, and then lift the shape back up. Now, when you do this, I don't want you to think the goal is to touch the floor, but I want you to find your edge. How far can you move your legs towards the ground without feeling like the lower back is getting into the movement? And then lift the knees back up. And just kind of shift a few times at your own pace. Breathing in, reaching down, exhaling, lifting up, and really try to press your whole upper back into the floor. The next time you reach your feet down, just let them touch the ground. Hug your left knee into your chest. Create some circles with your left leg. Switch the direction. As you come back to center, interlace the fingers behind the left thigh and start to lengthen your left leg up to the ceiling. Point and flex your foot. Rotate your left foot in one direction around your ankle joint and rotate it in the opposite direction. And coming back to the center, start to push your heel up to the ceiling. Press your thigh into your hands. And if it feels comfortable, straighten your bottom leg. Reach your right heel out and your left heel up. Try to draw your inner thighs towards each other. Breathe. Then take your time and place your right foot back on the floor. Bring your left knee in towards your chest And I forgot the hip stretch for a moment. So if it feels good, keep your right leg straight. So left knee towards the chest, and just try to pull your left knee a little wider towards like your outer ribs or your armpit area. And thinking of like a pigeon pose on your back, reach for your left foot or ankle and just try to reach your foot across the body. Right? This movement doesn't have to be very big for you to feel the outer hip working. So you can control how much you lift the foot, how much you reach the foot across you. Then we'll place the right foot on the ground and stack left thigh over right, like you're sitting cross-legged. And you can lift your right foot off the floor and either reach for your feet like handlebars of a bike, or you can rest your hands on the floor and just focus on the knees pressing in. Then slowly unwind. So we'll come back to that kind of core work that we did before. Bend the knees, create this like 90-degree angle with your feet, knees, and ankle and hips, and open your arms out wide. And before we kind of shift down to the ground, see if you can shift your knees towards you, like as far as they'll go, and then shift your knees away from you, and shift your knees towards you, and shift your knees away. And I want you to find the place where you just feel like you're most centered, most stacked over your hips. And then start to reach the whole shape of your legs towards the floor, like we did before, to your edge, your limit, and lift them back up. Reach them down and back up. Move a few more times with your breath. And next time you lift your knees all the way in towards your chest, hold the back of your thighs, start to roll yourself up and down like a ball. Massage your back a little bit and rise all the way up. Wrap your right arm around your shins. Tent your left fingertips behind your back. Sit up as tall as you can. Use that backhand as an anchor to help lift your belly, lift your chest. Come back to the front and switch your sides. Tent the right fingertips. Come back to the center. Separate the feet just enough so you feel like you can lift your chest up. Hold on to the shins. Lift your heart up. Round your spine. Pull your ribs and your belly away. Inhale, rise. Exhale, rise. Breathe and lift. Exhale, rise. Just start to move back and forth. Next time you lift your chest, take your hands behind you, lift the belly and the heart, and start to lift your feet up one by one for supported Navasana, boat pose. Look at your toes, squeeze your heels together, draw your elbows in. And if you want to lengthen your legs, you can go for it, lifting your heels up towards the ceiling. Good, and lower your feet. Give yourself a little hug. Let your back round. And we'll try that one more time. Hands behind us, feet lift up. And if we want to, we can reach our arms off the ground, out in front of you, lifting your chest, your belly. You can play around with lengthening your legs if you like. Keep breathing. Good. And let it go. Give yourself a hug. Very good. So come forward to your hands and knees when you're ready. Use a blanket if you need underneath your knees. Blocks near the top of your mat. Take your hands a little forward of your shoulders and just start to make nice wide circles with your hips. just start to change the direction that you started. And as you come back to the center, bring your knees wide. Set your seat back to your heels. Stretch your arms out in front of you. Maybe turn your palms up towards the ceiling for child's pose. And we'll try to thread the needle, reaching the left arm through the right side. And if you need to lift your seat up, if that's more comfortable for your hips or your back, you can lift your seat up. And see if you can walk your right fingertips towards the center of your mat and revolve your chest to the side. Slowly unwind and reach the right arm through the left side. And optional to walk the left fingertips towards the center of the mat. Slowly unwind, walk back wide with your arms. Come up to your hands and knees, tuck your toes, and lift your knees up to downward facing dog. Just start to pedal out through your feet. Move your head a little, yes and no. Gently walk up towards the top of your mat. See if you can grab opposite forearms and elbows and just start to rock a little side to side. And releasing your hands, sweep your arms out wide and rise to the ceiling. Fold back down to the ground. Step your right leg behind you. Lower your knee to the floor. Reach your arms up to the sky. Try to lift from your lower belly like you're pulling yourself out of your hips. Then send the hands to the ground or use blocks to support you as you lift up your back knee and lengthen your front leg. Try to draw your hips backwards and your heart forward. Bend your front knee. Reach your left arm to the front, up to the sky, and open your chest. Releasing your hand down to the ground. Turn to the middle of your mat. Bring your hands to your hips and come all the way up. Bring your feet a little closer together. Point your toes out and your heels in. Reach your arms up. Bend your elbows and bend your knees. Sit into it. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, bend and sit into it. Inhale, rise. Exhale, bend. Lean your right elbow to your right thigh. Come back to the center. Left elbow to left thigh. Back to the center. Rise back up to stand. Open the arms like a T. Point your toes in, heels out. Warrior two, front of the mat. Bend your left knee. Flip your left palm up. Peaceful warrior. Take your hands to the ground. Step back. Downward dog. Plank pose. Breathing in. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, lift your chest up. Exhale, downward facing dog. Send your right leg up high. Step your foot forward. Step to the front of the mat when you're ready. Look up halfway. Exhale, let it go. Sweep your arms up high, breathing in. And fold down. Take your left leg behind you. Lower your knee. Take the arms up Anjaneyasana. So we're turning our palms to each other to help our shoulders lift. Reach from your lower belly up to your fingertips. Take your hands down to the ground or blocks to help support your legs as you straighten them. Let your chest move forward and your thighs move to the back of the space. Bend your knee. Sweep your right arm up to the sky. Open your chest. Stack your shoulders. Release your hand. Turn to the middle of your mat. Bring your hands to your hips and come all the way up. Bring your feet a little closer. Point your toes and heels out. Lift your arms up. Bend your elbows and your knees for the standing squat, Kalyasana. Inhale up. Exhale, sit into it. Inhale up. Exhale, sit into it. Left elbow to left knee. Come back up. Right elbow to right knee. Come back up. Straighten the legs, lift the arms. Arms wide like a T. Turn your toes into the middle. This time, right toes to the front. Bend your knee, warrior two. Flip your palm up, peaceful warrior. Take the hands down. Step back, downward facing dog. Plank pose, breathing in. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, lift your heart and your chest. Exhale, downward facing dog. Send your left leg up high, breathing in. Step your foot between your hands. When you're ready, step forward and look up, halfway lift, hands to shins. Exhale, forward fold. Sweep your arms up high over your head. Take your hands to your chest for a moment and your arms by your side. So we'll move through sun salutations. One round of breath per movement. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, fold down. Breathe in, step your right foot back. Downward dog, exhale. Plank position, breathing in. Exhale, down. Inhale, lift your chest. Downward facing dog, exhale. Your right leg lifts up high, breathing in. Step your foot between your hands. Once you're there, step forward, look up, and release. Arms come up high. Let's fold back down. Take your left foot back, lunge, downward dog. Plank pose, breathing in. Exhale to the belly. Inhale, lift your chest. Downward facing dog. Your left leg comes high. Step your foot forward. Step up, look up halfway. And let it go. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold down. Your right leg steps back. This time, nice and strong into plank. Lower down. Breathe in, lift your chest. Excellent, downward dog. Pause here for a moment. Just listen to your breath. Reach up through the thighs. Let your head relax. Start to bend your knees. Look forward. Either jump, step, or walk up. Look up halfway. Exhale, fold. Send your arms up. Hold back down. Your left leg steps back. Plank position. Lower down. Inhale, lift your chest. Good, downward dog. Pause and breathe. Let your head go. Lift well through your thighs. Bend your knees, look forward, jump, step, or walk up. Look up halfway and let it go. Sweep your arms up. Take your hands to your chest. Bend your knees like you're sitting in a seat. Sweep your arms up to the sky if you can, or out in front of you. Notice if you can press your weight back towards your heels. Sink a little deeper. Hold down. Plant the palms, bend the knees. Step, step, or jump back to downward dog. Very good. And if you like, move through your flow through plank, chaturanga, up dog, or skip it. Meet me back in downward facing dog. Reach your right leg up to the sky. Step your foot forward. Reach your right arm up for a twist. You can always put a block under your left hand if you need. Lower your hand down. Turn to the middle of your mat, left side. Bring your hands to your hips and rise. Feet come a little closer. Toes out, heels in. Lift your arms up. Bend your elbows and bend your knees. Wrap your left arm under your right. Bring your palms together for eagle wrap or hold your shoulders. You can rock and sway a little side to side. Just explore some movement in the hips and the shoulders. And then we're just going to be static for a moment. Stay in your center, drop your seat, open the knees, lift the elbows. Good. Keep your arms, but start to straighten your legs. Yeah, straighten legs. There you go. Point the toes in, heels out. So we're taking a wider stance. Turn your right toes to the front. As you bend your right knee, open your chest to the left, like drag your elbows kind of to your center, and open the arms back out to warrior two. Sit deeper if you can. Yeah, bend that right knee more. Flip your right palm up, lean back, peaceful warrior. Can we straighten both our legs? Reach your right arm forward. Take your hand down to your shin, or of course, you can use a block if you prefer, and send your left arm up to the sky. Lean your chest and your heart back. Just feel that nice opening across your body. Send the left arm over your head. Start to look to the floor. Bring your top hand to the other block or the ground. And start to come up to the toes of your back foot. So you're drawing your left hip forward and your right hip back. Both your legs are straight. Your hands are supported on the ground or on blocks. Try to reach your chest forward as you think about moving your thighs backwards. Now start to bend your front knee. And personally, I'd like to go on the highest setting of the blocks here if you're not there already. Walk your blocks forward until you can lift your back foot off the ground. Reach your belly, your chest up, reach back through your toes. See if you can bring your hands to your hips and come all the way up to stand. Good. Shift your weight to your left foot, not the right leg that we've been on, and open your right knee out to the side. Place your right foot on your left leg for tree pose. Wherever you feel like you can, try to hold the balance. Pin your outer left hip to the center. Maybe your hands come to your heart. Maybe the arms reach up to the sky. Take your time and bring your hands to your chest. Come up to the toes of your right foot, just kind of like you were starting tree pose. Reach forward for your blocks and lift the right leg up behind you. See if you can turn your chest to the right and maybe bring your right hand to your hip for Ardha Chandrasana. Optional to lift the right arm up to the ceiling. Good. Wherever we are, even if we're holding both the blocks, take a big step back, warrior two. Lean back, peaceful warrior. Take your hands down to the ground near your left foot. Downward facing dog. Move through your flow or skip it. Very good. Just take a couple breaths here. When you're ready, reach your left leg up. Step your foot between your hands. And as you twist to the left, if you need a block under your right hand for support, grab it. When you release your hand, turn to the middle of your mat, bring your hands to your hips, and come up. Bring the feet a little closer. Toes point out, heels in. Reach your arms up. Bend your elbows and your knees. Wrap your right arm under your left for eagle wrap. You can hold the shoulders if you prefer. And just start to sway a little side to side. Coming to the center, hold the shape. Sit deeper. Keep opening the knees towards the pinky toes. Try to lift the elbows. Keep the arms, straighten the legs. Point the toes in, heels out, so go wider. Move the left toe towards the front of the room. Bend your left knee, but turn your chest to the right. Drag your elbows towards the center. Open the arms wide and free like a T, warrior two. Sit deeper. Flip your palm up, lean back, peaceful warrior. Straighten your legs, reach forward. Take your hand down to your shin or a block as the right arm reaches up to the sky for triangle pose. Opening up the heart. Send your right arm over your head for a moment. Looking at the ground, reach for your blocks or touch the floor. Spin to the toes of your right foot so you can really face forward, drawing your left hip back and your right hip forward. And try to think of creating length in the belly, right? It's okay to fold, but think more about reaching forward than folding down. Just breathe into the space. Start to come up to the highest setting of your blocks. When you bend your front knee, you might need to step your back foot in, walk the blocks forward, and lift your back leg off the ground for supported warrior three. Try to think of creating a straight line between your hips, shoulders, and your foot. And you can challenge yourself and bring your hands to your hips and come up to stand, or you can drop your foot and come up to stand. Yes. Shift your weight into your right leg. Lift up your left heel. Open your left knee out to the side for tree pose. And lift your foot against your right leg, wherever you feel like you can try to balance. Your hands might come to your heart. Try to think of pressing into your midline. Maybe your arms come up to the ceiling. Take your time. Bring your hands back to your hips. Move your left knee forward. You can tap your toes on the ground for more balance. Send your chest forward and reach for the blocks. Lift your left leg up behind you. So you can stay here for another version of warrior three, or you can try to open your left hip, pointing your left toes to the left, maybe bringing your left hip hand to your hip or your left arm up to the sky for Ardha Chandrasana. Flex your left foot. Lift up through the inseam of your leg. And wherever you are, let's take a big step back, warrior two. Good, lean back, peaceful warrior. Take your hands to the ground, step back, downward facing dog. Move through the flow or skip it. Very nice. When you're ready, take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Drop your knees to the ground for a moment. Step your right leg back and pulse back and forth through the right heel. Take your right foot, swing it off to the left side so you're crossing your body, and look over your left shoulder. Take your right leg, swing it off your mat to the right side like you're drawing a circle around you, and bring it in line with your hip. And just one more time, swing it back behind you and all the way to your left. And this time, just try to think of moving and lifting from your core, right? To lift your leg, lift your foot up, reach it out to the side, and try to step your foot to the outside of your hand. Very good. Move a little back and forth between the feet and the legs. Remember, you can put blocks on your hands if you need a little more opening in your hips or length in your spine. Then reaching your hips downward, your chest up. You can pause here, or you can lower your forearms to the ground or blocks for lizard pose. Think about using the blocks if you need to help support your shoulders. Try not to bear the weight of the pose all in your shoulders. Try to spread the toes with your right foot. As we walk back up towards our hands, we'll heel toe the right leg over to the left side to bring the shin to the floor for pigeon pose. You can always put a block underneath your seat if you need a little more padding, a little more support there, and lower yourself down when you feel ready to your forearms or all the way down to your hands. I also sometimes like to put a block under my head or maybe even under my chest to just get rid of some of the weight on the shoulders if I'm feeling like I'm holding tension there. Expand your breath. Take your time. Slowly walk up to your hands. If you had a block underneath you, I would move it out of the way. So we'll push the hands into the floor, or you can even put like 2 blocks at the lowest setting. I wouldn't go to medium or high heel here to help you push away from the ground. It'll give you a little more space, but you'll tuck your back toes and lift up your back knee, push the floor away to lift your shin off the ground, and slide your right leg straight towards the left side. And this is called fallen triangle. So you can peel your left arm up and roll to the outer edge of your left foot, or you can always keep both your hands on the ground if it's not there for you today. Try to open up your chest, kind of like counteraction to what we did before we went with gravity. Now we're working against gravity. Drop your hand to the block or the floor And let's take that right leg and step it between our hands. Very good. You got it. All right. Move your right foot a little wider, just so you're not on a tightrope. And take the left foot, step it forward so you can drop the heel to the floor. Right? The distance is going to vary for each person. So just make sure your feet, your legs are still long, but your heel is down. Bring your hands to your hips and rise to stand. You can lengthen your leg for a moment and lift your arms up. Start to bend your front knee. So we're going to move with our breath a little bit here. Start to straighten your front leg. And when you take your hands behind your back, think about just like crossing palm over palm, not holding anything, just being a little soft with your elbows, and start to drop your head down towards your knee. And you can even think of rounding your back, like creating softness, trying not to really engage or keep anything perfectly straight. Then as you bend your front knee, now start to think of stretching your heart forward, straightening your spine, lift your belly, lift your torso, lift your chest. Yep, keep going. Open your arms wide and lift them up to the sky. So we're going to move between these two movements with our breath. Lengthen the legs, hands behind the back, soft, round your spine, and let go. Bend the knee, guide the chest forward and up, and sweep your arms back up. Good. Try this 2 more times on your own, right? Don't worry about being in sync with me or each other. Just guide yourself up and down. And if you finish before me, just pause in warrior 1. And we'll lift through our arms when you're done with your second round. Very good. Take the hands to the hips and start to straighten your legs. Reach your heart forward. So this time I want you to think of straight spine, thighs back. Take your hands to the blocks. Personally, I recommend highest setting, but you can always change it if you feel like you can go deeper. Your blocks stay under your shoulders. Your chest reaches forward. Bring your right hand to your hip. Turn your torso to the right towards your thigh. Stack your shoulders. And if it feels good, reach your right arm up to the ceiling. This is revolved triangle pose. Maybe your head leans back a little bit if possible. One more breath. Good. Slowly release your hands. You can remove the blocks, step back, downward dog. Move through the flow or skip it. Excellent. Take a deep breath in. Nice sigh out, maybe. When you're ready, reach your left leg up to the sky. Nope, I lied. Step your left leg down and let's lower the knees. Sorry, tabletop position. Good. And maybe wiggle the seat for a moment before we kind of ask a lot of our spine on the other side. So take your left leg back and pulse back and forth a few times. Then sweep your left leg across the right side and look over your right shoulder. Take your left leg, trace all the way towards the left side off your mat in line with your hip. Then move your left leg all the way back behind you into the right side and maybe look over that right shoulder. This time I want you to think of using your belly, your core to lift your leg up, reach it all the way to the left and maybe all the way to the front. If you need to wiggle your foot forward, you'll readjust, but just try your best. And as you come forward to this low, wide lunge, move a little bit back and forth. And as you reach your chest forward, drop your seat and lower your elbows down towards the ground, or the blocks. All right, and just think of in your body, how low can you release to the floor, but also not hold all the tension in your shoulders. So if you are that person, you might need to come up a little higher. You might need to stay on your hands. Just being aware of how you feel and where you're compensating in your body to keep the shape. Walking up gently to your palms, heel toe your left foot across your mat to the right side. So you can come into pigeon pose. So the left shin lowers, your right knee might move backwards to drop your seat a little more. And you can also use a block under your left side if you like. When you feel set up, lower your elbows down to the ground or drop your head towards your hands or support yourself with a block under your head or your chest. Allow yourself to just kind of let go for a moment, right? We'll have a moment to counteract gravity. So give yourself the space to give in here. Breathe deeper. Your time. Start to walk up slowly. Remove the block if you had it. So again, since we are pushing away from the ground, sometimes it's helpful to have blocks under the hands to help you push away. Otherwise, you can still do it just by pushing into the ground. But tuck your back toes and maybe even scoot your knee a little forward so you're not reaching back as far. Lifting up your right knee, you'll scoop your belly up around the spine and step and extend your left leg off your mat towards the right side. Once you get there, you can peel your right arm up and roll to the outer edge of your right foot, or you can keep both your hands on the ground and just work on pushing away from gravity, opening up the chest, lifting the hips as much as you can. Then we'll lower our hand down and just try your best to swing that left leg forward between your hands. And if you need to do it another way, I know you'll figure it out. I already did it on the other side. Good. So the left foot moves a little wider. Your right foot comes forward and down. So we want the heel to be on the floor. You'll have more balance that way, but you can always adjust shorter, wider, longer stance depending on how you feel. Lifting up your chest, bring your hands to your hips and come to stand. Lengthen your legs, push your right hip forward and even your right shoulder and your left hip back. So you really feel like you're facing the front. Sweep your arms up and bend your front knee. So we're going to move with our breath like we did before. Lengthen the legs, take the hands behind you, and just kind of like touch the palms. I want you to think softness in your shoulders, not super tight. And round your back and feel as if you're trying to touch your nose or something like that towards your knee. Then bend your front knee, lift your chest, feel like you're opening back up again and reach your arms up. Good, lengthen the leg, hands behind you, nose towards knee. Bend your knee, sweep your arms back up. 2 more times at your own pace. Next time you lift back up, stay up, lift the belly, lift the heart, and start to straighten both your legs. Take your hands to your hips, reach your chest forward. So we really want to think of stability in our legs and length in our spine. Take the hands to the blocks I recommend highest height under your shoulders. You can always go lower if you feel like you need a deeper twist. Bring your left hand to your hip. Start to turn your belly and your chest. And maybe you reach your left arm up to the sky. Slowly let it go. Bend your knees so you can step back to downward facing dog. Move through the flow or skip it. Meet me in child's pose when you're done. Slowly lift your chest. Swing your legs around. Come down onto your back. Take a block. I'd say at the medium height if you can, but if it's not comfortable, go to the low height and bring it in that space, kind of like super lower back, upper glute area, so you feel like you can really put your weight there. Let your arms relax. You can even puff up your chest and tuck your shoulders a little bit under your back. So you're more than welcome to stay here, or you can hug your right knee towards your chest. Pull it in as close as you like, and you can explore straightening your left leg out in front of you. Now, I prefer to hover the foot so I can kind of seesaw back and forth and balance on the block and just kind of explore different areas of my hip flexor that feels good to stretch. But you can also just be still if you prefer. Bring the left foot on the ground for stability. Right foot steps down. Hug your left knee towards your chest. See how that feels. And optional to reach your right leg forward and just kind of explore. If you're hovering, if you're keeping the foot on the ground, if you're seesawing back and forth. Take your time and step your right foot down and then your left foot down. Relax your arms. And you can stay here for a moment if you want to. You can lift your legs up. And if you don't feel stable on the medium setting, you can always change the lower setting. Soften your joints. Your legs do not have to be locked and straight. The idea is to feel like the femurs are just sinking into your hip sockets, letting the blood flow through the body. Your time. Bend your knees slowly. Let your feet come down one by one. If you had the block at the medium height, let's bring it down to the lower height first and just kind of let your back adjust to that level. And if you had it already at the low height, you can take it away and just hang out for longer on the floor. If you still have the block, remove the block. Step the feet wider, knock the knees together, rest your hands on your belly. Breathe into your lower back. Hug your knees into your chest. Rock a little side to side. Bring your knees wide to happy baby. Starting to let yourself go. Set yourself up for rest, however you're comfortable. You can stretch your legs or keep your knees bent. Use a blanket under your head or under your thighs. See if you can lift your chest a little and tuck the shoulders underneath you. Squeeze your hands into a fist, nice and tight, and kind of squeeze the shoulders into each other. Take a deep breath in, sigh out, and just let it all go. Squeeze your glutes, thighs, pelvic floor, breathe in. And exhale, let it go. Turn the toes in and out a few times, rotating your thighs a little bit, loosening up the femurs. And then just let them fall into whatever place they fall. Turn the head a little side to side. And let it go. Shrug the shoulders up to the ears. And then let it go. Lift the chest up to the ceiling. Tuck the shoulders under. And let it go. Prune up your face. Draw everything in. Breathe. Exhale, sigh out, let it go. Start to relax the body into the floor. Try to soften every part of your being. Every pore, every cell, every muscle, every bone. Begin to deepen your breath. Make some small movements with your fingers and toes. Rock your head a little side to side. You can stretch your arms over your head if you like. Take a deep breath in. And I sigh out. Bend your knees. Roll over to your left or your right side, wherever you have space. Just use your hands to slowly rise up. Bring your hands to our heart centers. And seal our practice with one sound of Om. Breathing in. Om. Light within me, but also the same light within all of you. Namaste.